Howdy there, everyone. My name is Rabbit, and welcome to episode 155 of our post-game exploration of Jade Cocoon 2's bonus content. In our previous episode, we made our way once again through Water Tour. We had a couple of cuts, so basically starts and stops, where we had random cutscenes with Cure. We delivered a present to her, which essentially fulfilled a job posting we had taken, and then it was just a generic conversation with her regarding honestly her pursuit of freedom. I know she doesn't really remember who we were, and she's unaware of the fact that we saw that she was essentially a prison here in the forest. But either way, Kahu is still very proud of her and excited for what is unfolding in her life now that she is a human, for whatever reason that she became one. Still don't kind of like how they handled this whole story with her, but whatever. I love Cure so much, and I like the character that she is now. I just wish they had transitioned old Cure into new Cure a little bit more realistically, but whatever. That's fine. Let's go ahead and dive into Water Tour number 5. As for stories that I was sharing with you guys, I was talking to you a bit about my goals for 2018. I spent a bit of time talking about the 3 primary things that I really want to make happen for the channel, one being consistency and ultimately fewer long gaps with content coming out whenever things get super hectic at work. The second thing would be just completing more games, which would kind of happen as a result of having fewer gaps between episodes rolling out whenever I need to leave for something or anything else happening. And then kind of as a side thing, maybe some more face cam series I think they'd be fun for me to create, and I know they'd be fun for you guys to experience as well. So I didn't necessarily plan on taking a break from them in 2017, yet for whatever reason I just didn't make any face cam series. So it wasn't wholly purposeful, yet at the same time I knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to prioritize when it came to recording or creating content in general. So I don't know, we'll see what 2018 holds in that regard. As for non-channel related things that I would like to happen, or I'd like to make happen, because I think it's your responsibility to sometimes seize the things you want. Like, yeah, there are certain circumstances that it would be nice if they just unfolded magically for you and they kind of set you up to have a more successful attempt at whatever it is you're wanting to happen. But I think a lot of the times what it really comes down to is you deciding on your own, like, I want this and I'm going to make it happen to the best of my ability, or as much as I can. One of those things for me is I really want to pursue fluency in Spanish. I have a pretty basic grasp of Spanish, so I wouldn't say I'm fluent in French, but I have a pretty advanced knowledge of French. But it wasn't ever anything I loved. Like, I don't dislike the French language, but it's not a language that I feel super passionate about. When I was in my undergrad, I spent a lot of time being involved in a lot of international student events, and oh God, it's like, that's its own story that I may or may not have shared at some point throughout this entire Let's Play, but there was a pretty rough situation for about a year and a half where, for whatever reason, a lot of people thought I was Ethiopian and they thought I was like denying who I was. So I got kind of thrust into this weird controversy slash lots of issues slash drama in some of our African student organizations. So like the Ethiopian student groups like thought I was just basically bougie and I didn't want to acknowledge my upbringing, and I became okay friends with a toxic girl she was from Senegal, and then I also knew another one that I was pretty good friends with who was from Deep Marine. Hold up, we're gonna have to pause on that one. Let's look at this. Oh my gosh, a water force gem said to bring relaxation. I would say yes, it accomplishes that for sure. I'm going to get rid of that. We're just going to roll on down. Fuck these lovely gems. They are not really worth much at all. And I'm running out of space, friends. So something's got to go. We'll just drop a few things at a time whenever we pick up something even nicer. So Senegal, Cameroon, and yeah, anyway, so there were a lot of Francophone African students that I became decent friends with, and I got to use my French, and it was great and wonderful and all that. Actually, it wasn't. There was always something going on that was not wholly fun, or what I would would have liked to happen, but, whatever. I just really hate disappointing people, and I wanted to try to make certain friendships work, but it was a mess. Don't want to go into all of that because that's not the point of the story. What is the point of the story is that my French has always been, I don't know how to, I don't want to sound like an asshole and be like, yeah, I'm advanced at French, because I wouldn't say I'm fluent in it, but I can communicate and I can be involved in a lot of Francophone related activities as a non-native French speaker. That wasn't the language that I grew up speaking, it was one that I learned. But I kind of regret it, and I wish instead the energy that I had spent during my youth learning French, I had instead put into Spanish. Not because I think living in the U.S. specifically that it's more useful, because that's an argument that a lot of people make, but I don't think I don't know if America's where I'll ultimately be forever. Like, Andrew's looking at some programs in Canada. There's also a possibility that we might move to India. I had, about a month ago, as weird as this sounds, I actually had a recruiter contact me for a position in Bangalore, but I don't really want to move back. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to go on that tangent either. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll be in the United States the rest of my life, or maybe at least while we have kids, or maybe I'll be in Canada in 5 years, and that's where we'll ultimately retire. Or maybe we'll spend the next 10 years living in random places until Andrew's done with his schooling and, postdoctoral stuff, and then we'll come back to the United States. I don't know what's going to happen, and that's both scary and exciting for me. Maybe a little more scary than exciting, but I'm trying to look on the bright side that I have had a transient life, and I don't think that part of my life is going to be over anytime soon, even though it'd be nice if at some point it was. But the point of me saying all of this is that being here in the United States, I know for some people they feel like if you're going to study a second language or become fluent in a second or third or whatever, Spanish needs to be in your top two that you practice, because it's basically the second language here. That's not a motivator for me. I don't really care, because there's nothing saying that I'm going to be in the U.S. forever. My family's not originally from here. I don't feel compelled to adopt that as an argument. What has been kind of pressing for me is that I really enjoy South American culture. Certain countries I appreciate a lot, and I would never want to necessarily move there and be like, oh, yes, I'm Brazilian now just because I live there. I'm not that kind of person. I think it's important to always remember who you are and where you come from. And I've seen this before in some of my other relationships with people when they want so badly to be someone other than who they are that they subject themselves to all kinds of abuse. They lie about their past. And honestly, I feel like in doing that, they strip themselves of certain things that would have come naturally in their future because they just can't accept who they are. And you know what? Whatever. No judgment. I won't begin to try to understand what motivates someone to want to erase their past and adopt something else. So, you know what? If that's you, I say more power to you. I don't know if that's always the best practice, but I can see situations where, you know what? I think even looking back on my own upbringing, and the abuse and the dysfunction that took place during certain periods, I wouldn't fault, I don't think someone could fault me or my sister if we were like, you know what, we're changing our identity, we're learning, we're learning Portuguese and we're moving to Brazil, or we're learning Spanish and we're moving to the Dominican Republic. I don't think anyone really would have the right to say to us, well, no, that's not who you are. That's not where your family came from. Actually, maybe I don't want to remember who I am or where I came from. Maybe it was really hard and it was unfair and a lot of terrible things happened, and I want to create my own life, and I want to create a future so my kids don't have to worry about the things that I went through, and it's not anything that I have to carry around with me as a burden anymore. I do think it's peculiar, but I think there is a lot of validity to someone who would make that choice. So that, I don't know why I kind of went off on that tangent or that rant, but basically, I feel really passionate about Spanish, as strange as that sounds, and I think that becoming fluent in Spanish would be nice for me. I feel like there's a third life in me that can only really be tapped into once I achieve Spanish fluency. And as much as I enjoy French and I enjoy the level of French that I have, I'm even okay with letting it go in exchange for a deeper grasp of Spanish. So I don't know. I know some people might argue, well, you can have both, right? And yeah, maybe at some point I'll do my best to like maintain my knowledge of all the languages that I know. But right now, I really want to just hit fluency in Spanish. Like that is kind of a big goal for me. I feel like in the past, I've done a decent job of motivating myself to get started, hence why I'd say I have a decent foundation. Like, I wouldn't even say I get the basics of Spanish. Like, I could carry on a simple written conversation. Orally, I'm not super good. I can read it okay just because of my French background and because of my proficiency in English. Or I'd say I'm fluent in English. Come on, let's be real. My fluency in English and proficiency in French has made my studying Spanish a lot easier to where I can read it very well and I understand, like, I don't know, like conjugating the verbs is not a big deal to me and it's not that foreign to me. I honestly think French is harder than Spanish. I'm not going to lie. I know some people might take offense to that and be like, no, it's not. But let's just think about everything that goes into French verbs. Like, there's no way you can say navigating Spanish verbs or even just pronunciating things in Spanish is more challenging than doing it in French. I don't think it is. Maybe for someone else, like, French just comes a little easier. But for me, I think French is harder than Spanish. So my Spanish is, I'd say, beyond basics. Like, I think if I enrolled formally in a class, like, I wouldn't need to take Spanish 1. I could skip and enter Spanish 2, and that might even be unnecessary. Like, maybe I could take a crash course, like a 4-week Spanish 2 class, and then I'd be ready for a normal 16-week Spanish 3 or something like that. I guess is probably the most equivalent way to express where I'm at. But I still need to work on my speaking. I need to work on my listening. And I still need to work on my writing. Like, I'm not saying I can even write it super well. I read it better than anything else. And then I can convey certain thoughts. Like, I don't convey them the best. I'd say my Spanish writing, when it comes to casual conversation, is very broken. Like, I'd say it's the equivalent of how some people identify, like, English, you know, where you get what I'm trying to say. Was it the best way to say it? Probably not, but you can follow along with the heart and the sentiment that I am attempting to convey. But that's not what I want. And I know that in 1 year, I'm not going to go from this point to suddenly being like, hey, I'm ready to move to Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic or, I don't know, some other Caribbean, Central American, or South American country. Like, I'm not ready to pick up and move to Ecuador or anything like that. However, I think it would be nice to see more countries like Paraguay and Uruguay, and I don't know, I just really like Spanish as a language, and I like certain cultures in South and Central America that do speak Spanish, and I just think it would be a really good fit for me, as weird of a thing as that is to say. So I don't know. That's a big goal for me this year, is I really want to work on my Spanish language skills. Even if it's not daily, I want to at least do it weekly, where I'm challenging myself to learn something new, to put it into some sort of practice, whether that week it's like I want to try writing more, or this week I want to try speaking more, even if it's to my fucking self. Or a different week, I want to try working on my listening, so I'm going to pick a fucking novela or find like a Spanish comedian and try to watch their special on Netflix. Like, that sounds stupid, right? But I think it's those little things that over time can make a difference, at least in you understanding like colloquial speak and casual speak. Of course, having a grasp of the formal, proper way of talking and reading, writing, blah, 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 it's valuable, but I think having the ability to converse is the foundation that I'm looking for right now. So that's where I'm at. If any of you speak Spanish natively or fluently, hey, holla at your girl, because I think in 2018 I'm going to be looking for some people to practice with, just to grow and expand my knowledge of Spanish and my grasp of it. So anyway, that's probably my what the fuck? Where did this guy even come from? That's probably my priority goal for 2018. I have a couple other things, like the usual that people always say, where I really want to work on my health a little bit more, but not in the traditional sense. Like, I know a lot of people are always like, oh, this is the year I'm going to lose weight, or this is the year that I'm going to get fit or swole or whatever. You know, for me, I think as long as I'm mindful, like, I really don't care. Like, I want to be healthy in the choices that I make, but I am not about the extremes. I think it's too controlling of your life when you go from, like, one extreme of not doing anything to one extreme of, like, dieting super hard or exercising super hard. And I think life is too chaotic, and I just am not about that. Instead, though, when it comes to my health, something that I want to work on is managing my stress a little bit more. I think a lot of you who have followed me for a while, especially this series, because it is definitely a very diary-like series, since there's just so much downtime where I can just sort of, whoa, oh, Mel's Elixir 5, what is this trash? I find better things inside the ogre vines. Don't waste my fucking time, game. Don't waste my time. I struggle a bit with stress, and I think you guys are very well aware of that because of some of it's my job. Like, I do have a very intense career path where I have to always be on top of my game, and I need to be mindful of everything I say, everything that I do. It reflects on who you are and can kind of make or break your career if you make one wrong move. You know what I mean? Of course, that can be said for a lot of paths, but for mine specifically, I feel that pressure a lot. And that's not even the big deal for me. I live such a quiet life that, you know, I'm not doing anything that I'm really ashamed of. Like, I've had some people ask me before, like, what would you do if someone found your channel? And honestly, like, it wouldn't be something I would advertise to people, but I've never said anything on my channel or conducted myself in such a way here that I would be ashamed for people I know in real life to see. Like, my sister knows about my channel. Like, obviously, Andrew knows about it. You know, for people that maybe online they act like stupid vapid whores, but in real life, like, they want to be perceived as a professional, like, that's not me. Or someone who acts like a stupid frat douchebag bro who pulls pranks on people and does borderline unethical shit. Maybe he doesn't want his boss to know that he puts laxatives in his kids' ice cream or something. Like, you know, that kind of shit where it's like, you should probably go to jail and not have kids. Those sorts of things, I don't feel the pressure to hide from my real life because I play video games. I talk about sometimes my life, sometimes about the video games. I do swear, but I swear at work, not like around like students or clients or any party that we might be working with to host something or do something, you know, for the community. Like, I would never ruin a relationship that my establishment has with another one by, like, swearing or acting stupid in front of them. But in the privacy of my own office or when I'm talking, like, one-on-one with people, you guys better believe I'm myself. Like, I swear, I, like, tell it like it is. That's one thing that people kind of always tell me is that, you know, really what you see is what you get. Even in interviews, I've had in more than one instance a boss tell me that one of the things they really value about me is that I don't even have, like, an interview personality.
Kill you.
Actually, we're going to kill you. I've had it told to me at least 3 times that the way that I interview and the way that I talk about myself is the way that I truly am, and is the way I even talk about myself once I've had the job. Like, I don't have to lie about my experiences. I don't lie about my intentions or my goals. I will tell them straight up, like, I think I'm the best for this position because I'm probably better than most of the people you're going to hire. Or if there is a position where maybe I don't have as much of the specific experience in that realm, I'll tell them, like, you actually probably could be better off hiring someone else for this in terms of, like, their experience in this field. However, I have X, Y, and Z, and I just feel like I do a really good job of being honest and being transparent with people about my thoughts, my feelings, my experiences, who I am, and what I can bring to the table. I just feel like life is too short for me to beat around the bush and sell you bullshit. Like, I'm not a used car salesman, and I never could be that way, because I would tell you, this is actually a junker, and you're probably not going to get to the fucking end of the street on this, or in this, but I think you should buy it because you're broke as fuck and you need something, and I've got something that you can afford. So, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of who I am. So with that in mind, like, anyone, even the director of my department right now, if she found my channel, I don't think she wouldn't be, well, first of all, she might be a little surprised because I've never talked to her about it. So she might be like, oh my God, I didn't realize you had any sort of, like, online presence, because they know I'm so private and I don't really have, like, a personal Facebook. Like, my Facebook is exclusively used for my YouTube page, and that's it. Like, I don't message anyone. Like, I don't have, like, lots of pictures or personal stuff up on my Facebook at all. And the only thing truly it's used for is managing the page for this channel. Like, so I think because a lot of people know I'm extremely private and I'm pretty quiet in my personal life, or at least things that I disclose about my personal life. And it's not because I have anything to hide, but just because it's like people like to talk and I don't mind listening to them brag about their own experiences. So I just I let them go with it, you know? So she might be surprised because she might say, well, God, I just never expected this. I never knew. Like, you literally never said you had a YouTube page. And in a sense, YouTube is kind of social media because you are still socializing and interacting, but it is also a platform for you to provide a service at the same time. So that's probably what I would tell her, is that, yeah, it is social media and I don't usually use it, but I just never thought to talk to you about it because it's more of something that I do to escape like all of my work commitments and to just lay low and have a good time. And hey, can I just bypass you, you scrub? It looks like the answer is yes, but let's see if we can get will it be another medal? Our fourth one?
Wriggle, Roggle, I spy an enemy. Let's execute. Today, I'm gonna get a hug.
Not this shit again. Are you really saying the same garbage? Well, we'll go ahead and fight him because I'm sure, I was gonna say, I'm sure this one will be as easy as the last one, but that might not be the case. I'm debating now, friends. Do we want to? I think we can. You know what? Let's be safe and just isolate this fight to the next episode. It looks like it shouldn't be a big deal, but I'm not sure what he's got going on. And I feel like with the water beast, sometimes there are some garbage plays that come from the move set that they have. So we're not even going to entertain this. Don't want this to be another 30-minute episode. We'll just call it quitsies here. But when we do come back together in video number 156, we will be ready to fight another, I guess he's a slimy beast hunter, I think they're slimies. Maybe they're the slitheries. No, I think the slitheries are like fizzy, yeah? Either way, we're going to fight this beast hunter, get our new medal. Maybe he'll also give us an egg. I'm hoping for anyway. Probably not something rare, but whatever. We'll take what he gives us, and then hopefully in the next video, maybe the one after that, we should be ready to finish our exploration of Water Tour. Either way, I look forward to seeing you in video number 156, and I thank you profusely for joining me, your host Rabbit, for our post-game exploration of Jade Cocoon 2's bonus content. I'll see y'all soon.